Welcome to Spiritual as Fuck,
Spiritual as fuck.
where spirituality meets the real world. I'm Liz Volpe, serial entrepreneur, passionate change maker, and intuitive. I love inspiring people to dream big and create positive change in the world.
I'm Dianne Driscoll, a coach, facilitator, and speaker who uses channeled insights to activate transformation in leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers.
We share real and raw spiritual stories, give you a safe space to challenge what's normal, and have some serious fun along the way.
Come join us as we get spiritual as fuck.
Hi, Dianne. Hi, everybody. How is everyone today? I just realized that this is the final time that Dianne and I will be recording a podcast from the same country.
Oh, you're going to make me cry.
That's it. Dianne is moving back to the homeland, back to Ireland. So although we have been recording every Spiritual AF episode based in a different city, one in Melbourne, one in Sydney, this is going to be now going global for us. So Dianne, I know this is a big move for you. This is pretty huge. And yeah, I'm going to miss picking up the phone during the Aussie hours to give you lots of phone calls every day with my stories.
I think that's going to be the hardest thing for both of us. Like, what time is it in Australia? What time is it in Ireland?
Yeah, I don't care. I'll still be WhatsApping you.
Exactly. Well, that's it. The message will be there when I wake up. It's like your morning wake-up call from Liz.
That is right. And just to acknowledge all of the listeners from the 90 plus countries around the world that tune in month after month for us, thank you for being with us. It would not have been the journey that it has been to date without you as well. So isn't it nice just to think we've got friends in all of these countries, Dianne?
Absolutely. It just shows if we ever do retreats or live shows anywhere, we'll have an audience, a captive audience in that location.
Oh, absolutely. So on that note, if you haven't already clicked subscribe, please do, especially if you are over the England, Ireland, Europe side of things, America as well, because Dianne's coming your way and who knows what that could open up.
Oh, bring it on.
Yes.
Bring it on.
Come along for the ride. Okay, now, so what's this episode about? Let's go to energy hygiene today. Now, we have spoken on and off about all things underneath the umbrella of energy hygiene lots of times. However, it's just something that is so important to constantly get reminders on. So this is where we're going today. We're looking at those daily energetic maintenance techniques, let's call it that. And that's the grounding, the protection, the clearing of our own personal energy, which is so bloody important. There are so many things that I know you do, Dianne, that's different to me when we're talking about energy hygiene. But just to put it on a basic level, it's a simple, we clean our teeth every morning, right? It's hygiene. It's something that we know is really important. Yet a lot of us miss these really incredible basic techniques that should be done daily to actually keep, our spiritual hygiene in place. Dianne, I know that you've got a lot to say on this type of topic. What would you say is so important to you about doing these type of practices?
Oh, I think for me, it's actually the mindset about it. Like it's so much about us taking personal responsibility for our energetics, for our field, for how we show up. And the more, like for anyone who's been through a spiritual awakening, anybody who's on a spiritual path, we start to open ourselves up more and more to the unseen. And we, you often use the term about trawling stuff through as well, like as we go through our day. And if we're not kind of looking after ourselves, having that sense of sovereignty, and I view it kind of differently, like, not just in terms of, protection and clearing and grounding, I view it that we take responsibility, have sovereignty over ourselves, over our energetic field. And if we're maintaining that, then we're not actually allowing in any of the more negative or low vibration things. They're not going to hit us or drag us down as much as we might think.
Yeah, and even just spending a second to reflect on what our day is like, from the moment you're picking up the phone, you've got technology coming into the field, you've got the kids coming in, the husband, the partner, the family all cramming in there, and then you go into work and you're getting all different types of energetic mix matches, some aligned, some unaligned coming in. I feel like if we could actually see it, like dirt.
Yes.
If you could actually visualize that amount of dirt kind of coming onto your body every day, like you'd be bloody hell, you'd be running to jump in that shower every night, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. And then we also think of people who experience things like psychic attacks, or they feel that that there is a lot of negativity, or, that denser energy coming from other places. Like, that's a very real thing for some people. So again, instead of kind of responding to that, if we're holding our presence, having our spiritual practices, having our energetic hygiene in place for ourselves, then we're focused on what we can control, which is ourselves, as opposed to being worried about all of the outside influences.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to delve into this, because I know, even looking back on my journey, my practices have evolved so much, but I've not always done the practice, let's be honest. In the beginning, I was kind of like, this is probably a load of shit to me. These invisible practices of protecting me. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And, I had to go and make all the mistakes to realize that it does affect me, because I'm so sensitive and open to energy. But how my practices have evolved and how important I now judge them in my priorities on a daily basis, that's probably the biggest change. I would have used to do it if I remembered. Now it's like, no, I actually have to do this. And I've realized that the more heightened my intuition gets, the more sensitive, the even more thorough these type of practices are.
Yes.
I mean, just to chat about our trip to Bali, Dianne.
Oh,
I mean, Jesus Christ.
That pressure tested every single thing.
Really did, didn't it?
Yeah, because it was you're going to a different environment. You're like, the energetics in Ubud are through the roof anyway. And then we were meeting these incredible people for the first time. So we had, there was just so much going on. There was like that energetic soup almost, that we were, diving into the middle of it. And I know for me, it's almost like having that toolkit of things that I could delve into. What do I need today? What do I need in this moment? Because I felt in Bali, a lot of my normal practices did not work. They weren't
100%.
Okay, yeah. And it shows that the more important that we have a range of tools in our kit bag to be able to say, am I going to use this? Oh, this is not working. Can I shift to something else? Or even having a community that you can reach out to and say, hey guys, I'm struggling with grounding. Who's got some tips for me? Like, that's the intention behind us, sharing this information on the podcast as well. It's like, so you can fill your toolkit with all of the different tools and practices. And, we love as well when people come on to Instagram or into our Renegades community and start telling us their practices as well. Because the minute something resonates with you, you think, oh, I'm going to give that a go. Let's see how that works for me. Because definitely I found grounding in Bali to be quite difficult to do. Like, it was something that I had to be very, very mindful about grounding every single day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd love to share a story on this, because I think I'm pretty good at all these techniques. And Dianne, I know I've shared this with you. This is probably the first time I've actually said it to anyone else. But we went through the 5-day retreat, and during the retreat, I was feeling myself really lose energy. And by the 5th day, I was very, very tired. And when I say tired, I was actually being shown clairvoyantly an empty battery. It was completely drained. And after that, I then went on holiday with my family, and obviously I had the kids there, my husband. And honestly, it was so hard for me to even put a sentence together. I was just zonked. Energetically, spiritually, everything had gone. And I could not work it out. It really affected my mood. I was extremely flat. I wasn't able to hold conversation. And it got so bad for me that even thinking about decisions or the future, it was just physically impossible. I was scattered. It was like a foggy cloud sat in my head. And I felt that before to a certain extent, but not to this much. And bearing in mind, I've never ever held a 5-day spiritual retreat before. What a lesson. And it came to a head for me on the flight on the way back to Melbourne. I was just feeling bad, I was so bad. And I sat and I put my hands on my head in my hands just to kind of go, what is going on? I was holding my crystals and I'm like, how do I feel better here? And as I started to reflect, I suddenly could visualize and feel this huge energetic clump, let's call it a clump, above my head in my auric field. And I literally could see everybody's energy holding in this spot above my head. And it was heavy and dense. And I was like, wow, okay. I've actually carried everyone with me, and I've still got everyone with me above. And I started to cry, and I cried and I cried for 5 hours back to Melbourne. And I could feel the cleansing happening through the tears of letting it go. So it was interesting for me. I was like, wow, what didn't I do correctly for that to happen? Why was I holding people's energy that way? How could the grounding, the clearing, the protection have been better?
Yeah, and it's fascinating that too, because I remember us like when everybody had left the retreat, and us very intentionally closing the circle, closing alchemy the retreat, and standing in this space. And for me in that moment was very different. Like I instantly felt that I was claiming back my energy. So literally in that moment, there was like me visualizing a bluey white light that I'm kind of whooshing through my auric field and pushing that out. So it's almost like blasting anything that doesn't belong to me and sending back to everyone with love and kindness that anybody who had participated in the retreat. But I think new experiences always demand new tools of us, new ways of looking at things. And you've facilitated so many experiences to Cambodia over the years. Like you've done this kind of work, but it wasn't spiritual in its focus and its nature. So this was the something new for you, and also co-facilitating together as well. Like for us, it was a case of we still there's a degree of what I was conscious of going through that whole week as well was my own energetics. So almost like the boundary between here's the spiritual as fuck energetics, Liz and I combined. And then here's Diane's energy and here's Liz's energy. And then there's everyone else that we're facilitating the process of transformation for. But I think I was very, very conscious. Again, it's that sovereignty for me that is so, so, so important, that it's like, what's my energy? What am I feeling versus what someone else is feeling? Because even for both of us, we at different times, or one of us will be, hyped up, excited, and the other one might be a little bit worried about something. Or, we just, the basic human emotions. And for us not to get too entangled in each other's energetic fields either. There was a part of that what I felt when we left the space, there definitely was like, I felt like almost a little bit heartbroken. Well, I say a little bit, I was heartbroken. It was like, oh my God, there's part of me that was missing the overlap in our fields as well. And having to kind of unravel and disconnect that in a way. I definitely didn't feel that I brought the energetics of any of our wonderful, alchemists who are on the retreat with us, because I think as a coach, I'm so, even before any of the energetic work, before, spiritual awakening, I was always very intentional about this is the end of a session and I will disconnect. That used to be that I didn't want to bring people's, emotional stories or trauma, forward with me. But it's fascinating that as our life progresses, as new experiences come up, and definitely like a 5-day spiritual retreat was a new, very new thing for both of us. But no different than anything else. If you're a person who speaks on stage, if you're a facilitator, if you're a communicator, if you're a coach, if you're a person who hosts retreats, if you do anything where you are holding space for people, for whether it's, a 4-hour event, like a half-day event, a full-day event, or over multiple days, you will feel it. You will absolutely feel it by the end of it because you're holding space for people. You're holding that energetic frequency of the container that is alchemy in our case. But it's so, so important then that after that, give ourselves the recharge time. And like, I know that's what I teach my clients to do. It's like, okay, if you know something big is coming up, recharge, charge up beforehand, recharge afterwards, have that time. It's so important. That's another thing that we need to do. If you know that you're going out there, like it could be a board meeting that you're preparing for. It can be anything, but just okay, if you're going to be giving a lot of yourself to something, fuel yourself beforehand and then refuel yourself afterwards. But it took a big hit, I think, on both of us.
The good learnings, like for me, it wasn't that the practice wasn't there, but looking back now, I would have been bringing in extra tools on the grounding, clearing, and protection, and actually doing it more often through the day.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think, I'm always get, extremely tired and stuff and feel the energy after a Cambodia trip. But this was completely different. And whether or not that's because it was, a year and a half, 2 years since I've done Cambodia and I've come further in the development and my energy is even more sensitive. What I'm trying to say here is anybody on this spiritual path, expect change. Like, don't
Yes.
think that you can still pull off the old habit of standing on the grass, because that's the one that we always talk about. It's the simple one. It might just mean that you either, yes, stand on the grass and ground and feel the earth, but you might need to do that 4 times a day. Or you bring in,
Yes.
something else, like you're doing a smoke ceremony and you're burning that sage around you as well. It's about just having the tools, and more so, who gives a shit about the tools unless you have awareness? You have to be aware of
Yeah.
what's happening in your body and you've got to act and do something about it.
That was the biggest learning for me. So many people have said to me, "Oh, what did you do in Bali?" Like, as in, because I had days before the retreat and days afterwards. And people are shocked when I tell them that I did nothing. Like, I didn't go, like, granted, I was a little bit ill for the few days beforehand. So I had Bali belly before I got to Bali.
Lucky you.
But I literally, I knew that energetically, I could not be out and about in the streets and doing the haggle and going into shops and going to a lot of these experiences. So I knew we had a full itinerary as part of the retreat, and I was conserving my energy for myself and for the people that we were hosting for the retreat. Then afterwards, it was a case of what does my body need right now, and especially when we talk about grounding, it is about your body. Your body is the vehicle that takes you through this life. And if you're not grounded into your body, you're going to be off with the fairies. So for me, that conscious decision then, and my brain, like my intellect, was giving me a hard time saying, you should be out doing this, make the most of your last time here. But I was honoring what I needed. And that was part of my spiritual hygiene, my energetic hygiene, that it was like, what do I need right now to remain grounded, to remain, sovereign and, in control over my own energetics? Because guaranteed, if I had gone out running around for those days before and days after, I would have depleted myself and I definitely would have been at that kind of battery low level. And I'm so glad that I honored. And it was hard because it was like a battle between my intellect telling me all the things that I should do. Oh, when are you ever going to be back in Bali again? You should do this. And,
Don't let
all
the
these
guilt
things on
speak.
your list. And that was it. That was it. But again, I completely knew I needed to, be responsible for my own energetics and not deplete myself.
Let's talk about this and break it down a little bit. Let's talk about how you know you need grounding. So that ungrounded feeling, for me, it is that scattered in my head energy where I'm like rolling around, millions of thoughts, a little bit like fluffy, I'm going to call it, is my word, is like I can't really think or hold conversations very well. How would you describe feeling ungrounded?
Yeah, I find also too that, like, for me, I get sometimes like a nauseous feeling, like almost like I'm starting to go out of my body and that I'm disconnecting from my body. Like, I use the term, it's a very Irish one, away with the fairies, but it is literally I can't think straight. I'm I literally just feel I'm almost above myself or outside of myself, that I'm not connected. Like, so the word grounding to me is such a beautiful one, because that's it. You want to feel like you're in your body and you're in control of your faculties. And I definitely don't feel that way when I'm away with the fairy, so to speak.
Mm. And a good way to kind of know if you or your family is ungrounded is the times where you're running late and you're scatty and you forget your car keys, or you lose something and you have no idea what you've even just done to retrace your steps, right? That
Yeah.
is like being so ungrounded. So just having the awareness, and again, preempt this, go and ground in the morning. I find that the morning is like the most important time to just kickstart this type of an exercise. And whether it will be just the feet on the ground or walking barefoot on the sand, on the
Yes.
grass, anything that is going to connect you to the ground. Go and hold a tree. What else do
Yeah.
you do, Dianne?
Well, it's actually because that was one of the things that we brought to everybody in the alchemy retreat as well. And I do this a lot. Like for me, grass, hugely important, like bare feet, scrunching my toes in the grass. Rock is another one, like touching it. That's why I go to a lot of the stone circles and that. But my hands on rock or my forehead against rock, I find really, really grounding. But the circulating energy with a tree, that for me, and not just from a grounding, I also find it very cleansing as well. Like I'll use that as a way of clearing my energy too. And, like literally for people imagining that you're circulating energy from the tree. So it's coming from the tree through the crown of your head, down through your body, out through your feet, and then up through the roots of the tree. And it's circulating and circulating and circulating. And for me, like I know I have a massive connection to trees anyway, but that for me is one of the most beautiful things to be able to do. And even if you can't, like if there's a tree that's in the distance and you can't quite get to it, they still have such a huge energetic field that you can just be standing without actually touching them and visualizing that energetic exchange. But for me, that is a beautiful, beautiful way. So if the, feet on the grass or, feet on the sand and in dirt and soil is not working for you, find a tree or sit with your back to it and imagine the same cycle of energy, and you
Good
can
old
cycle it back
nature
the-
reset.
Totally.
Anything nature.
Anything nature is
Yeah.
your friend when it comes to grounding. The other thing that I've done relatively recently, so I had a grounding mat that I used to use just for my feet and I put it under my feet, but I went and bought some of those grounding sheets. And I've been using them for a while, and it is okay if I can ground while I'm sleeping. Yeah, definitely. So I found that very helpful, but it's still, like I get the science behind it, but I think there is nothing that, like, I think psychologically your nervous system resets as well when you're in nature. So when you're doing something that's in a more nature driven grounded way, rather than listening to binaural beats, like you can listen to certain frequencies while you're going to sleep, or you can have your grounding sheets for you. Hematite is another, that's what I use when I'm flying. Like when my daughter does as well. It's like we've both got hematite bracelets that, okay, if we're flying and we feel that sense of disconnecting or nervous, anxious energy, hematite for me is the go-to stone to be able to just, okay, this is what I'm going to use to ground me. But they're probably the main things that I use.
Oh, yeah. Any dark crystals, you can't beat them. I tell you something, if you're listening to this and it's your lunch break and you're heading back to the office, like you don't need to do all these real kind of crazy spiritual shit stuff either. Like I know for me, grounding is just about something that brings me into my feet, into the present moment. So like if you've got anything heavy around you, I don't know, a can of beans, whatever, a heavy book, like just actually hold something heavy in your hands and just pause for that second and ground through that way. So anything that like pulls you down towards the floor, it's that simple.
Yeah, it is. It's
I'd love to see your photographs if you do that, by the way. Please share them.
Can of beans in each hand.
Yeah. Doing some rates while you're at it.
Yeah, it's funny because kids, like when I would go in and do like mental health talks in schools with kids, and one of the things that would always come up for kids about when they were feeling anxious was, having to do any sort of public speaking or debates or things like that. And again, that nervous, anxious energy and kind of disconnecting from your body. I would always say to them, nobody will know you're doing this. Like almost joking with them and saying, nobody knows you're doing this, but scrunch your toes in your shoes. And again, it is because that automatically takes you out of your head, down into your feet, and connects you with the ground. Granted, they're all wearing rubber sole shoes, so it's not, but it is that. It's still that thought of anything you can do to bring awareness to your body, move your body
Breath.
in some way. Yeah.
Breathe.
Yeah.
Any type of quick 2-minute breath work, even really important.
Yeah. Anything that brings you back to physicality will ground you.
Yeah. Let's move on to the whole idea of clearing and what this is, because I feel like this is something for me that I've learnt the most about, especially because this was the one that I took the least seriously on my spiritual journey. When I look back, I feel like, which is interesting because I'm so sensitive.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'd always be like, I don't feel like I want to waft a piece of sage around my auric field.
It felt too woo-woo.
It was a little too woo-woo. Yeah. However, there's been some really simple things for me that allows me to do super quick clearing. And coming back to the funny point that I made about when someone is really scattered and they lose something in the house, this actually just happened last night. My husband will kill me for saying this out loud, but he probably won't hear it, so it's fine.
Sorry, Jessie.
Sorry, Jessie. For some reason, he came in, he had a meeting ready, and he could not find his phone. And when I say could not find his phone, no joke, the whole family looked for like half an hour for his bloody phone. And his energy was like high up. He's stressed. And when he's stressed, it goes straight into my body. I was feeling it from like the lungs upwards. It was like stuck in me. Now, he eventually found that phone and he got on nicely with his 4:00 meeting. Yet there was me upstairs with the kids and I was filled with that energy. It was stuck there. So the number one tip for me, okay, quick, 20 star jumps. And I'm like doing hardcore, fast, energetic star jumps. And the kids are like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I can't get rid of the energy. So the one thing that is my go-to at the moment is I do this quick, like, swipe and flick, let's call it, where I actually just use my hands almost like there is actual dirt on me, and I swipe my arms, I swipe my head, and I flick it all off. And I just almost visualize as I'm doing it in that 10 seconds of getting rid of any of this stuck visual dirt that I've, carried from Jessie. And, that was super helpful in doing it. And again, something you can just do anywhere at any time.
That is, honestly, that is such a huge one for me. And if you're in a place, so obviously you can't do this if you're in, say, a toilet cubicle at work, but if you can do it at home.
You kind of could.
No, but what I was going to build on was I do like shh,
the noise
as the noise, and that kind of regulates your vagus nerve, your whole internal energetics as well, because you're expressing it vocally. But if you are like wiping everything off, it's like, and even just imagine that you're clearing your energetic field, like you're kind of dusting everything off that you're, and then saying that if you're in a place that you can do that, I just find it, it completely clears the system. And you're doing your star jumps. Me, for shake meditations was something that I learned in the Hoffman process when I did it years ago, and it stuck with me. So either dancing like a maniac around the kitchen, or doing a shake meditation, but it is moving your body, particularly if you've got that if there's like angst or anger or any of those kind of bigger, bolder emotions, you want to really shift them out of the body. It takes physical movement to clear those. It's not like, I find it's not just as simple as going in and having a shower, say using water to cleanse. They need something a bit more vigorous or a bit more intense.
Absolutely. When you've been around someone with heavy energy, whether it's, a friend that's going through something, issue at work, you have to release what's not yours. So this actually, any clearing process process goes hand in hand with intention. You know, if I'm swiping the stuff off my body or jumping or dancing, it's got to be like I'm clearing everyone's stuff. You know, you have to actually set that as an intention to do it.
Yeah.
I know that there's water is something that a lot of people use, and you mentioned the whole shower at the end of the day to clear things off, or salt baths. I know is used
Yeah.
quite a lot. It's not something necessarily that I do often, but I could
Oh,
imagine that would be nice.
for me, it's like the shower. I don't have a shower unless like anytime I have a shower, my brain is
You're a
almost
bath
programmed
girl.
now. I will literally cleanse my field. Like I have a whole ritual I go through that words that I say to myself as I'm cleansing in the shower. Baths, I love. I never view baths as cleansing though for some reason. They're more um helping me reconnect with an intention. I'll use them more for
Like
manifestation.
mindfulness and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I view them in different ways. But then, like, a dip in the ocean, like, I mean, if you're someone who's into swimming, just go get into the sea to clear your energetic field as well. But speaking of water, one of the biggest ways to cleanse is crying. And you mentioned this about being on the
Yes.
plane. Like, literally, we hold on to so much stuff. All of us do. And, we might feel tears welling up. And it could be as simple as something that, someone has told you a heartfelt story. You've seen something on the news. You've watched a movie, but you're carrying that. If you feel moved to tears, you're feeling that internally. Allow it to process through you. And particularly, like a lot of the work I do with self-directed healing or people who hold on to emotions, like we're holding on to these massive emotions. They don't serve us. They're kind of clogging up our energetics. So letting it out. So if the tears are coming, don't stop them. Go with it as much as you possibly can. Same with our kids. It's like, don't stop our kids from crying. If they want to have their tears, hold on to them or give them what they need until it passes. Let them know that it's okay. It is the most therapeutic and cleansing thing that any of us can do. And I
I
do
agree.
believe that transmutation, because you spoke about this, and I really feel like your tears that you were, on the plane, it wasn't as much to do with you. Like, yes, there was a component of that with you, but it's also transmuting energy on behalf of the collective that we're there experiencing
Mm.
alchemy. We're holding on to that energetic. We've been holding on a space for people for so long that we need to allow that to process through the body. And you've just made me realize, I think I don't have this written down anywhere, but I am almost sure that I cried every day in Bali. And like
Mm.
tears for me are a huge way of just releasing. And I release with gratitude when that happens. I don't give myself a hard time anymore, or at least not all the time.
Actually, the thing that goes hand in hand, again, this was just something that intuitively I have done since Bali as well, is that, when you are clearing, or when you're out there and you're mingling or you're with people, you know that your energy is also being left behind. Or, there are people generally in life that sometimes we meet that we call energy vampires, and that do take our energy, right? They phone us for that reason, or get involved with us for that reason. And I've started to tap my heart to call back my energy. So I'll just tap it and like call
Yes.
it back. I bring back my own energy today. And it's
Yeah.
also kind of grounds me at the same time as kind of working on the
Yeah,
energy.
the physicality of tapping on yourself definitely is grounding too. That's part of the ritual I do every day in the shower. It's like literally, so I will cleanse, whatever is not mine, whatever no longer serves me, I allow that to go down the drain into Mother Earth. That's part of it. And then I call back my energy in a cleansed and repaired, high vibrational state.
I
So
need to
that's
take a leaf out of your book. You are
oh,
just too good at this stuff, Dianne.
I love that, and I literally like it just makes me feel, and I do this like I literally say, I call back to me from this lifetime and all lifetimes, from this timeline, all timelines. Like I will literally expand it out as much as I possibly can to say this is what I'm calling it back, but calling it back in a cleansed and repaired state. So I don't want the heaviness of maybe I've been supporting someone through something. I don't want it back in a damaged or, an uncentered sort of a way or an ungrounded way. It's just, and I think any of these practices that we do for a long time that become our kind of core toolkit, they just become inherently like I couldn't imagine getting into the shower and not doing that now. It's just part of my routine. It's like brushing your
Oh,
teeth. It is just the whole thing is woven into it. But I think other things that are really good from a clearing perspective, and I know this is more on the, I won't say extreme end, but it is like, I guess it's used for a specific function, which is cord cutting, where you're
absolutely.
literally, you've come to a point with whether it is an attachment to someone or something or a workplace or a situation. And you just think, okay, I now need to do something energetic and intentional that I'm cutting the cords with this person, this situation, whatever it is. And there's a whole process involved in that as well. And whether you do it that you're following an exact process, like just be intuitive about it. Think to yourself, imagine that you're cutting the cord. You can see that cord between you and whatever the situation or person is, and you're going through cutting it. It's that for me, again, has become ingrained into everything that I do. Like it's not something that I wait for a situation to get really, really bad and then decide, oh, I'm now going to do cord cutting and I've left it fester for 3 months. It's like continually just ending. And I view it in terms of almost like timelines. I'm cutting cords with this timeline, this situation, and that I'm reconnecting on a higher vibration timeline, that it's like that person, that situation will come back to me. Because there's lots of things in life where, like if I take the example of ending a business relationship or ending a romantic relationship, it's like you may not want to end the relationship with the person, but there may be some behaviors, or it's a toxic workplace and you're hoping that a certain situation will resolve itself. Cut the cord with that timeline, with that instance of what's happening right now, and set the intention for a better outcome to kind of change the trajectory of how you're both operating in that situation. Like it's such a
Oh, that's a
great
good
tool to
idea.
have.
Dianne, on behalf of all Spiritualist Foot listeners, have you ever considered writing a spiritual textbook? Oh, I wish I could take a leaf out of your book, girl. I need to be reading this stuff.
You're too funny. Oh my God. Maybe it's all those years working in corporate, all the systems and processes.
No, it's good. No,
That's just how my brain
it's
works.
so good though, because all of these things that we're going through, it's just you've got to experiment. Like you have to
Totally.
experiment for just what feels right. Because obviously, if it's not feeling right, it's probably not working. Let's be honest. So you've listened to what we're saying, but go and try your stuff. And it might need to be a little bit more down to earth. Like if you need to clear your energy, just go and do a word dump on in your journal. But
Yes.
whatever it is, it's all about routine and habit. Like Dianne is doing so well and is putting me to shame.
Stop.
But it is about habit. And I have my little things that have become habitual for me, and they have really helped. And I think you can take it as far as you feel like you need to take it. But importance of doing these kind of quick resets through the day, whether it's starting your day with a really good ritual like Dianne does, or having your little things that you can pull out, the resets are the key here. But yes, I feel like I'll start taking orders for Dianne's textbook soon here.
Oh my God, there are,
100%.
there are just so many things like there. But I have to say that while I'm a person of routine in some ways, the most important thing for me is having a toolkit of things that I can
Yeah.
dip into. I will always tune into myself and say, what do I need in this moment? What do I need right now? Is it to do a shake meditation? Is it to go and do some breath work? Is it to do a chakra alignment? Is it to, do a clearing body scan? What is it that I need in this moment? And normally, because then I've got the toolkit of lots of different options, then it's like, oh, I'll just choose this one today. Almost like a pick and mix of one of them and two of them, but it's never yeah, there are certain things that I probably do every day, but a lot of it is just tune into it in the moment and honor. Half of this stuff I'll make up as I go. I don't have to have somebody else's, guidebook or instructions. They might inspire things, but then it's like, just trust your own intuition, trust your inner compass, trust your own belief in yourself of what your body, what your mind, what your soul, what your spirit actually needs.
And if you are kind of listening to this going, now I wish I had access to this type of stuff, it's really why we invented the Spiritual Renegade community. In there, we've built toolkits, a spiritual awakening toolkit that like covers all of this energy hygiene stuff. And then we have lots of meditations and activations and everything for people like you, like-minded people that are listening right now that want to learn how to put this stuff in real life and want quick access where you don't need to think about it or go even on Google. It's just there. So definitely check that out, and we'll put the link to that in the show notes for anyone that's interested. Now let's move on now, because I know that we could talk about this stuff forever, Dianne. Protection. So when do we use protection? I guess for me, when you're heading into a crowd, when you want to stay clear, especially if you've got a big meeting, I think I use protection. If I'm going into a challenging situation and I need to like actually energize myself and expand my energy and feel that I've got my personal boundaries in place. What about you?
Yeah, I think I don't, and I know I've said this on the podcast before, but it's like I don't view it in terms of protection, because when I think of protection, it means I'm trying to keep myself safe. And I do not subscribe to that. Like for me, it's a case of I am setting my energetic boundaries. That's how I view it. So it's that case of what is my energetic field? How am I taking personal responsibility for it? How am I maximizing it? And how am I setting the boundary of what I allow through and don't allow through? And so it's almost like then my, whether you call it your Taurus field, your auric field, that you're pushing the boundaries of that out and out from you. And then you've got like a little bouncer on the door that's kind of saying, yeah, you can go in. No, you can't. And I like that. That's literally how I view it. I'm not viewing that I'm, um, protecting myself from anything, because if I take personal responsibility for keeping my vibration as high as I can, so that to me is the most important thing. If I'm keeping my energetics high, imagining, visualizing my field being as extensive as and expansive as it possibly can, that is what inherently protects me. Like as in
I agree.
protection.
The word protect, it's not really the right word to use, is it? Because I
Yeah.
imagine it's like having your house and you have a garden fence around the outside of it, and that's just your boundary. So that
Yes.
boundary just automatically says, you stay out, this is mine.
Yes. And it's funny because on that, one of the big things that I do that is, again, an energetic boundary is doing the practice of 7 circles. So around like the boundary of my home, like I'll do this for myself, or if I'm like did it for alchemy, like the sessions that we were in, that this is the energetic boundary of what's allowed and not allowed into this space. And for my home, like I've done it every house that I've moved to while I've been renting. It's on my house in Ireland, and it's literally the whole perimeter, the boundary, doing 7 circles and being very, very intentional about saying, what like feeling into all of the feelings that I want to have in this space. So all the love, the joy, the happiness, the growth, the development, just that compassion, all of those things. And I will sit in those feelings and pushing them out through, to set the boundary, but also setting the boundary of what can come through. So people, like literally the visualization for me is that any person who comes up my driveway, anyone who comes into my property, they're leaving their baggage at the door. Now they can take their baggage with them if their intention is growth and development and healing, but they don't come into my space and, shit and leave me in an energetic, horrible place. And the amount of people who've said to me, particularly about like our family home that we had here in Australia, was like the entertaining house. It was the place where, everybody came. We had, whatever, pool parties, barbecues, big, big nights of everybody gathering. Same in Ireland. It's like the amount of people who tell me, oh, it feels like home, it feels like such a safe space.
Yeah.
And I think, oh, the fact that you mention that makes me feel really good. But I know what it is. It is that I have been very, very intentional about what I allow in and what I don't allow in. And I'll, like, when I go back to Ireland, I'll do that again. Like I'll reinforce those boundaries again. But it is very much an intention, an energetic intention setting of boundaries for what I allow in for myself and for the property that I'm living in or the place that I'm facilitating in.
Interesting. This yesterday morning, I did a meditation, and this analogy came to me about this exact subject, so perhaps I'm meant to just share it now.
Yeah.
I was shown that when you're talking about this type of energy and boundaries and protection, it's not about putting walls up, as we know, because we don't just want to do an absolute block. I got shown that it's like wearing sunscreen. It's actually just a filter. So even though you wear your sunscreen, you're actually stopping the bad stuff coming in, but you still want the sun. You still want the vitamin D, as an example. So it's this idea of having a filter that's just in your control, of allowing the really beautiful, best things to come through, but saying, this filter actually just stops the negative and the lower vibration and frequency things that can just stay outside of that. And I loved that analogy. I'm like, that is, yeah, I get that. That's awesome.
It is, and it's funny. Another way that I love as well. It's almost like the unsubscribe button. That if there are things that are happening around you, so say there's some family drama, or something that you feel you're kind of getting sucked into, and you can feel your energy kind of leaving you into
Yes.
that people are demanding that you pay attention to this. For me, it's like there's like a visualization that it's a click unsubscribe button in my head, and I just think, if it's drama related, if it is depleting me, if it's bringing me into lower vibration, unsubscribe. The other one then is, if it's something that literally, say it's a programming thing, so regardless of what your thoughts are on, say, vaccination as an example, or if World War III is impending, all of these things, and I just think, no permission. I am not allowing, like, literally there's a big
Not going there.
sign in my hand that I just in my head visualize. It's like, no permission. I am not giving any of my energy, any of my thought processing to this. It's just not allowed in my field.
Yeah. Oh, hell yes. And yeah, I feel like there's so many ways to do this type of protection. The one that I do with my kids is the invisible jacket, putting the hood up and zipping up the front of the jacket.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's a nice, easy one. Just imagine you're putting the hood up. Okay, you are protected. There we go. You're going to stay warm today with your nice little jacket on. Or the simple ones like wearing a bracelet. For me, wearing like the darker color crystal bracelet is a really good thing for me as well. Just even that makes me feel really good and kind of reminds me, at least. It gives me the reminder to do the practices, which I think is important. Protection to me is something that takes the practice, and it is something that needs to be done every day for like 30 days to get it really stuck in your head. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. And I think for me, it is that ingrained, like to me, when I'm teaching clients, and I don't talk about this in terms of like, unless they're a particularly spiritual client, which, a lot of them aren't. I'll still talk about it in terms of the higher you can keep your vibration, the higher you can keep your state of mental well-being, let's put it that way. So it's if you're keeping yourself at the highest possible, that you're filled with love, with joy, with all, gratitude is the biggest thing. If you can sit in the energetics of gratitude and allow that to flood through your whole system, then that is that's actually amplifying your field. That is what's basically, becomes, if you imagine the energetic bubble that things will just ping off. It's like you're no longer touched, or you're no longer dragged down by things that are more lower vibration. So you're taking responsibility for your energetics, for yourself. But if you can do that, sit in those higher vibration feelings and do that multiple times throughout the day at the traffic lights, like literally when you're brushing your teeth. First thing, like for me, the minute I wake up in the morning, that is, unless it's a day that I haven't to sleep in, then it's not very
Throws you a bit.
not very graceful. But literally, before, my first thing that I'll do in the morning is, before I allow myself to wake up fully, my eyes are still closed, I will feel into almost like being wrapped in a warm blanket, being, filled with love, filled with gratitude, filled with just the awe for life, and I let that flood through me and amplify out, and I will imagine it going out of my body, out of my room, out of my house, out of the country, and just expand, expand, expand. And like I'll do that as I'm waking up and as I'm going to sleep. And it's probably become more and more and more of a practice that I tie into manifestation as well. That it's like,
I was just about to say that.
yeah, it's like, because then I'll visualize all the things that I'm grateful for that haven't come to pass yet. So it is, but it is a beautiful thing, because it supercharges your whole energetic field. And if you do that multiple times throughout the day, so whatever the thing is for you, I think we're both saying the same thing, that is so important. Get into the practice of doing it multiple times per day, rather than it just being a tick in the box. Like really live in this. It's not just do it in the morning, do it in the evening. It's like spend as much time as you possibly can in these energetic states, and that's what will serve you.
Just spend the time to reflect on yourself. This is actually a process of getting to know yourself and what's good for you and what's not good for you.
Yeah.
And it's also something that anchors in the practice of intuition. So if you are someone that wants to develop intuition, you're in the process of it, these tiny, simple practices will allow you to be in that centered place, to open all of the intuitive senses, to connect with the body, to receive information. Rah. All right. So they are just positive. Let's leave it there. Simple. I would love to offer everyone a challenge. How about we kickstart, after you listen to this podcast, a 7-day challenge where each morning you create a little bit of time, and let's face it, doesn't need to be long, 3 minutes perhaps, where you ground, clear, and protect your energetic field. And you journal every day, at the end of every day, with a few thoughts on how you felt, how your energy is being, and see where you are by the end of that 7 days, and report back to us on Instagram at spiritual.a.f. What do you think, Dianne?
Oh, I love it. You know me, anything that's into experimentation or trialing stuff, I absolutely love it. And we can talk about this until we're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, it only works when you put stuff into practice. And there's nothing like a bit of a challenge to get us building some of those good habits.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is around finding this stuff out for yourself. You can read it and hear us absolutely talking about it, but go and try it, and please share your energy journeys with us on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you find us. Even through Spotify, you can leave comments now. Can you believe it? And YouTube, of course. But we would love to hear what you do. And I'm sure that there are many of you listening that have got some awesome energy rituals that have not even been mentioned today. So yeah, share yours, because Dianne and I absolutely love to keep learning on this beautiful journey that we are all on. So yeah, so thank you so much, Dianne. I learned so much from you today as well. Pleasure recording our final episode in the same country together, talking about all of this.
Don't. I'll probably cleanse with some tears after this.
You go cleanse away, girl. I won't stop you. For everyone tuned in, thank you again. Click follow. Yes, join us. Come and be a spiritual renegade. Keep the conversation going. And wow, next month, I'm not going to tell you much, but let me just say, do not miss it. It is going to be up there as one of the most epic episodes that we potentially have ever recorded. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you again, and we will see you next month.
If you have enjoyed this episode or are a die-hard fan of the show, make sure to subscribe right now so you don't miss out on future episodes. And to share the love, you can give us an awesome 5-star review.
Help us create a world that is spiritual as fuck.